morning and welcome back to another video, and today is another day of the 0 to Gold Cap Challenge. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. So today we're going to be starting off by gathering up our gold for the day, as we're going to need it for our craft. This is a follow-on from yesterday's video, so let's just crack into the gold for the day, which is 5,962 gold. The gold of note from this is Arcanar. We sold a stack of 200 for 2,090 gold. Plus we also sold the pattern of Don Teo's Inferno Mittens, which we got from the world boss in Uldum when we were doing our flyover. By the way, if you do see a Kato world boss, kill it, because it provides you a load of raw gold, like a couple of hundred gold, and it gives you a load of BOEs and some recipes, which you can then sell on the auction house, which we done. The other thing of note is we sent over 1,200 gold from raw gold, from just our farming and just vendoring it all to the auction house from our Vortex Pinnacle stuff from Corthana. So we are at a comfortable 17,028 gold. We bought our Arctic fur off the auction house. We purchased 2 of them yesterday for about 400 gold each. Little bit more than I would have liked, but one of my Discord members actually mentioned that when you actually do the trial of the Crusader, which we did a few days back, if you run it in with a skinner, you can actually get yourself a load of Arctic furs from the bosses if you skin them, and they all pretty much always drop the Arctic fur, so it's something you may want to bear in mind when running that. But other than that, we did buy that off the auction house, so what we're going to do is we send that over directly to Dala, which is the one with the weird ass A. I don't know what you call it, but it's just a way in which you can just have the same name with a little dash above the A. But we're going to send that over right now, and that's going over. So what we're going to be having to do today is continue our production of the mechanized chopper. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to jump over to our alchemist to transmute all of those serenite bars. So this is the case of just jumping into our mobile banking, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to go into here, go into the chopper, and we're going to grab our serenite bars. We're going to have to do this pretty sharpish, but what we're going to have to do is just go into have materials, and we're going to transmute the serenite bars, which we smelted alongside our titanium, and transmute them into titanium bars. This is to give us extra additional titanium bars from the serenite that we farmed up, as well as farming up the titanium from the Wintergrass farm. So this is another way in which we can create titanium without having to do more farming than what is needed to do. So it's always a good way in order to do that. So this craft is going to be a little bit different today. So we have the serenite bars, which we've put in there. We've got 23 additional titanium bars, which brings our total up to 89. So we're a little bit under 3 mount crafts, but other than that, we should be okay. So what I'm going to do quickly is we're going to nip onto Giblet and my mage, and we're going to send over the additional gold, which is needed to craft all of this Titan steel bars. So that being the case, I will jump straight over to Corthana. Actually, one little side note while we're actually sending over this gold. To be honest, I do find that the mechanized chopper is one of the most easiest mounts to craft, due to the fact that it's just an easy farm to do. It's there's no problem with all of that. So what I'm going to do is send over 15,000 gold and send it over to Corthana, so leaving us with 2,000 gold for reposting on the auction house. Next thing of note, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to run over to our guild bank, and we're just going to grab all of this stuff here. So we're going to grab all of our Eternals and no, we don't need the cobalt bars. We'll save that for in a minute when we're actually crafting the mechanized chopper. But aside from all of that, what we're going to have to do is we're going to be creating our Titan steel bars. What we're going to have to do is we're going to jump over here, and we're going to buy ourselves our frozen orbs. So what we're going to need is about 13 for the Eternal Shadows. We will buy another 10 more just to make sure that we've got those. And for the eternal fires, with 29 of those, so 29 minus 8, which is 21. I don't know why I had to do math to work that one out. And yeah, so 21. And that leaves us with 13,000 gold to then use that for our crafting. So it's come out to a nice amount. And remember that the frozen orb flip is only for a supplementary thing to save time. So if you can get it from the farming of the titanium ore, that's brilliant, such as like the Eternal Worth. We got all of them from there. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to have to buy 13 of the Eternal Shadows. So 13 Eternal Shadows, we're going to spend that, and we've got 29 of those. And the last 21 is going to be from this. So there we go. We've got 29 of each, and we're going to have to smelt all of this Titan steel bars. So we've got 29 Titan steel bars coming our way. That means that we can make 2 mechanized choppers straight off the bat. And that because we only need 12 to make 1. But we only have enough raw gold to buy all of the other materials, which we can't farm up, for 12,500 gold. So we can only make 1 of those mounts, and therefore we'll only be crafting 1 mechanized chopper. So just something to bear in mind when we do that. So once we finish crafting all of these Titan steel bars, we'll shove them into the bank, and we'll jump over to Dala GG, which is my paladin, who is already set up in K3 in the Storm Peaks. So that being the case, we'll fly over to our bank, and we will then just bang all that in. So don't really worry about all of this jazz here. I finished off most of the farming this morning for the Titan steel bars. I was aiming for 3 of the mats, so we're going to have to finish off the last bit because I don't like not finishing something. So yeah, other than that, it's going to be really, really good. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to have to, let's just mount up and jump over and go to the mailbox and grab our Arctic fur, which Giblet sent over, and probably shouldn't have mounted up on the Brutosaur because I've got to fly back over here. So what I do here is I park my ult, who crafts all of this stuff like the mechanized chopper, and what he has to do is just come over here near the Flight Master in K3 and speak to this young lady here, and she sells all of the parts that you need. This is on a 15-minute cooldown, this one that says 1 only, but other than that it's pretty alright. The other thing of note is I always carry a thermal anvil, which you can pick up for a couple of gold on the auction house. This is where it means that I can use an anvil anywhere to create the mechanized chopper, such as here, right where I get the parts from. The thing that I have failed to mention is I forgot to send over the 12,500 gold from Corthana, so we just grab that from Corthana and we've got it. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to have to go over here and we're going to buy all of our little bits that we need for the mechanized chopper. Just to be on the safe side, I always check that up, even though I do it quite a bit. I always like to make sure that I'm not wasting the gold, so to speak. So just to be on the safe side, I always do this. So it's just a case of picking up and buying it. I do have a macro that gets rid of this little pop-up box, but I rarely use it anymore because it means effort. So that being the case, we've got all of the other little bits. Now it's time to get hold of our Titan steel bars from our mail bank, and we go into our mobile banking. This is why we all have to be in the same guild, and we go over to the chopper and we just grab our Titan steel bars. This can be left on the character who crafts it because it's going to be used for nothing else but that. But the next thing of note is we need to grab 40 cobalt bolts, and this is easily done by just grabbing our engineering trainer, and all we have to do is just go over to the cobalt bolts, and we need a blacksmith's hammer. So if you're anything So if you're anything like me, you need to make sure that you have your thermal anvil if you're going to park it here, and also if you want to craft these things, you have to have your blacksmith hammer, an arc light spanner, and a gyromatic micro adjuster. Now you can buy these off the auction house, which I did with the arc light spanner and the gyromatic adjuster, but you can equally craft them with engineering. I'm just very lazy when it comes to that. But what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we craft our cobalt bolts. We need 40 of these. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to whack on our anvil and we're going to start crafting. So as soon as we've got 40 of these, we're going to jump over and just make sure that we can craft the mechanized chopper. Now this does it in 1 or 4s and anywhere in between. So if you are crafting the bolts, you'll get more cobalt bolts than what is needed. You need 2 cobalt bars to make a handful of cobalt bolts, and it can be from anywhere from 1 to 4. So at the moment on my screen it's saying 2, 2, 3, 2, 3 is 1, 1, 3, 3. You get the gist. You get a load of cobalt bolts. It's just a handful of cobalt bolts. So 1 more left and we've got our 42. We've still got 39 more we can craft. But other than that, that is the mechanized chopper that we can craft. This also happens with this as well. The mechanized chopper has a chance of proccing to make 2 mechanized choppers. Now, that only happens on a very rare instance. A very rare instance that it happens, but it does happen because it has happened to me before. You just got to make enough mechanized choppers to get the proc, but it's just a nice little bonus when crafting the mechanized chopper that you can get 2 instead of 1. But let's craft our mechanized chopper. This takes quite a while to do, but once we've got it, we can then sell that on the auction house and then try and see if we can sell that as well. And now we're all set up for our different types of farms. We can then work out a plan that coincides with our production. So what we're going to be doing in a second is just sorting it out in our groups, and then we'll go over the production method for the rest of the weeks. So we'll just leave that at that, and there's the mechanized chopper created for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just send it over because my mobile banking has run out. But then we'll just go over here and we'll just send it directly over to Giblet. So mechanized chopper to Giblet. And for now, this instance, we are going to jump over to our mage and we're going to add that to the group and post it on the auction house. Hopefully this is a good way in order to get this going and we can run over our method for production in the long run. So now we have our mechanized chopper on there, so we'll just jump into our auction house. Go into our TSM at the same time, we'll be going into groups, mounts crafted, and we'll add that into the group for the Vial of the Sands as well. So they're all in one designated group. So now we've crafted mechanized choppers and Vial of the Sands in the last few days. So now it is just a case of going down through the posting of this. So we'll post that to the auction house at 29,998 gold. So a little bit less than what we wanted. But remember, that is just compiling the entire farm for the hour and into one item and then selling that on the auction house. This is a sell rate of 0.12 and in my experience mechanized choppers sell faster than Vial of the Sands, so I'm okay with this. And our current gold at the moment for our posted auctions is currently at 186,687 and about 83,000 gold's worth is those 2 mounts. So you can obviously see why compiling your farms into one specific item can actually be quite beneficial, because once that item sells, you've got that gold for that hour's worth of farming straight off the bat and trying to sell loads of different mats, which all take the 20% cut from the auction house and all that jazz. So it works in our favour, crafting mounts. So aside from all of that, our production method for crafting mechanized chopper is that once a week we do an hour's farm for our titanium ore. So with our farming for the Vial of the Sands each and every week, we have our daily crafts of our Pyrian bars. That's our only dailies that we have to do. And once a week we do our titanium ore farm in Wintergrasp, just to make sure that we keep up together with the materials. We have enough cobalt bolts to last us quite a while, so that is an as and when farm. So as and when you run low, specifically around about 20 bars, then you're going to want to replenish for about 20-minute farm just to gather up the cobalt ore again. But the method in which that we're going to be going by is by doing our daily alchemy for Pyrian bars, and then do our titanium for our mechanized chopper once a week. So one day out of the week for an hour we do a titanium ore farm. And for the Vial of the Sands, the Pyrian bars are being done, so once a week again we do a volatile fire farm, a volatile water farm, so that's 3 hours where we're farming for the week, and everything else is an as and when it runs low. So now we've got ourselves all set up, so we only farm 3 hours in a week, and now we're going to be we are now set up to craft a load of the Vial of the Sands and mechanized choppers. The only thing that I would note is you have to keep consistent with this, otherwise you will run low on materials and you will run out, and you need to have the mount on the auction house all the time in order to gain regular sales. Now, mounts don't sell as fast as baseline materials, but it compiles the mount, it compiles the hours worth of that farm into that one item that doesn't take the 20% cut from materials, so you'll be making more gold playing the long game with mounts and as you would with selling your materials at a 20% discount. Now obviously this will be changing with the new auction house, but the same principle applies. Compile your hours worth of farming into one item, so when that sells you've got your reward straight off the bat once it sells. That being the case, we are now set up to do 3 hours worth of farming per week, and that is enough to keep us up together with the Vial of the Sands and the mechanized chopper mount crafting production lines. So now it's just a case of getting set up with all the other different types of mounts. So that being the case, for our third mount to add into our production line, I'm going to let you guys decide which mounts we're going to be crafting on a regular basis, and I'm going to list a poll in our community with all of the other different types of mounts that we can craft, and we'll take the poll, and then by the end of tonight I will then set ourselves up for crafting that mount. Other than that, guys, don't forget that the animal fundraiser for the RSPCA is still ongoing, and it will be ongoing till the 31st of January. If you wish to donate, then the link is down in the description down below. Other than that, guys, have a wonderful rest of the day, and I shall see you on the next video, which will be tomorrow. Have an awesome day, guys, and I shall see you soon.